Hello and welcome to the Secret Life of Cookies. I have with me, oh my God, the most specialist guest ever in the whole wide world. I have Jessica Secrest with me today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, and I feel like you must say that to every single person who comes on your podcast.
I never have used the phrase specialist ever. So
Well,
you
I
get
I
to,
feel like the specialist then.
that's what I want you to feel because you are so special. You are for the two or maybe three, no, only two people in the world who don't know. You are the author of course it's good, aggressively delicious meals anyone and everyone. Well, anyone can make and everyone will love. And it doesn't matter. You know, this book
Yes.
is a bestseller because oh my gosh, I want to make every single recipe in the book. I have like 5 million cookbooks from like the entire
I
20th
believe that.
century. Yeah. And this cookbook is like, oh, this is the one I'm going to cook out of every day. So thank you for that.
That's the idea, real food that real people eat because we don't always have time to make everything from scratch. We don't
Mm-mm.
always have time to make everything look beautiful and put together, but sometimes you just got to get dinner on the table fast.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to like go straight for what endeared me to you immediately, but let's do that because why shouldn't I? You should feel good about yourself. I hope you do. The video that made me go, oh, I love you is the one where you said, making my family hamburger patties and I bought the patties ready made at the store and that is going to be good enough for everyone. And girl, comma, I feel you so much because this is it really is after a day because I also am a recipe writer and author and whatever. Um After a day of testing recipes in the kitchen, the last thing I want to do is like sit there and shape beautiful patties for my family who are just going to scarf them down anyway. Um,
You are so correct.
And you also have the other thing that I always tell people, but without the politesse that you do, which is wash your fucking hands. And one of the
I
things
almost
about
wore my wash your fucking hands shirt today too. I'm so
I,
sorry.
oh my gosh, I love that. I would wear that. That definitely to me. Have you made aprons of it yet?
I do have aprons that say wash your fucking hands, and I have new ones coming out that are even better, that are more bold and more in your face with the wash your fucking hands.
Good, because that's what everyone should do. I think that's the majority of problems in the kitchen are people not washing their fucking hands. Um, and the thing about making burgers is all the meat, fat, and whatever gets all over your hands. And by the end of the day of cooking and doing my dishes and whatever, my hands are like, please, no more water, please. And that's why patties slap them down.
Yes, after making this cookbook, I would go out. So I would make all of the food, photograph it all, and I would make like 10 or 12 recipes in a day for the photography. And I would leave my house and I would be like, I smell like beef. Because I had made so much food in one day. And oh my gosh, yes, washing my hands. My photographer, who has been with me for a while now, she jokingly, like when I hand her off the food and I'm like, please take a bite of this. Oh my God, it's so good. And I'm like, but I touched this. She's like, I have seen how many times you wash your hands. I'm not worried about you at all.
Totally true. Everyone should use you as an example. You should be running the FDA or something like that. Someone should
I
be.
don't know about that, but
I mean, washing your hands is the best start there is.
it
I
is.
have to say that as exciting and wonderful as it is to have you, and you are the specialist guest, I kind of feel it's a little bit cruel having you spend time with me because you are in the middle of a book tour. You have two small children. You take care of your friends' kids when they can't take care of their kids, and maybe you just let them go out and then you clean their house at the same time and feed their children and wipe their bottoms and potty train them. And you're coming up with 2 to 3 recipes videos a day. Let's see what else. I can't even barely make eye contact with you when I like talk about these things. Oh, well, you and I should be having a spa day. But I thank you for being here. Do you, do you ever get a chance to relax?
I don't know that word. I am the type of person who, like, I always say, I'm like, I'm a neurotic human to my core. I have never once in my life relaxed. I try. I'm trying very hard. That's actually one of my goals for this year. I set out 6 what I deem to be realistic goals for 2026, and I quickly learned that the internet says that my goals are really lofty, and apparently that's not realistic at all of the things that I want to do this year, but it's fine.
Who
One
is
of the
this
things
internet?
One of the things that I wanna do is slow down and be present and also take on new challenges, and they're like, "Those 2 things contradict themselves." And I'm like, "But they're different." I compartmentalize my life. So when I'm at home with my kids, I've been making really intentional changes to my content schedule and how I do things to give myself days and moments where I can actually cook without screaming at the camera, which is a wild
Oh,
concept for me. Um, and getting a chance to be able to, like, cook with my kids in the kitchen and do things that kind of, like, fill all of our cups up in a different way than we've been able to. Because go, go, go can only go for so long before you start to burn out. So I've been making very intentional changes, and when I'm home with the kids, I'm home with the kids. When I'm on tour, I wanna be fully present on that. So I try to make things as intentional as I can in the moment that I'm in. And people will tell me when they're in line for book signings, they're like, "Aren't you tired? Aren't you like don't you wish you were doing something else?" And I'm like, "No, I'm literally doing exactly what I'm meant to be doing right now." Like I truly feel that. So like speaking with you right now, this is what I'm meant to be doing. Like I am meant to be where I am in the moment I'm in it. So, and I couldn't be more grateful for all of the moments that I get to share with everybody along the way. It's been wonderful.
I totally understand that. And I love to hear that you are carving out intentional time for yourself. So that way I don't have to worry as much. Because I
No,
really, I,
I do. I try to carve out time. Like I set aside time to read my books. I set aside time. I picked up a hobby which my best friend is like an avid quilter, and she has been like trying to get me to quilt. I made an entire quilt for my daughter in like I don't know, 3 weeks, and but it was like that was my time that I did not film it. I listened to my audiobooks, and I was, like, very intentionally doing something that was, like, just for me. I mean, it was for my daughter, but, like, the craft of it all and, like, the time was for me, slowing down, doing that, which I know I said I did it in 3 weeks, and that's, like, an insane thing to do, but it was so fun, and I have another one planned for my son, and then my husband is, like, in line for his too, which we'll see
yeah.
if I ever get to that.
And that'll be when you share anyway, right? Like that's like the
Yeah,
nap
of
time quilt.
course.
Yeah. Um, you are the third person I've talked to in the past 2 weeks who's like, oh my God, I love quilting. Quilting is the reason for being. What is it about quilting?
I think it's, like, it's fast, which I know sounds weird, but, like, you can do, like, a block really quickly, like, you can do a block in, like, 15 minutes, and then you have something to hold, and it's very satisfying. You get, like, that immediate gratification, and
Mhm.
then as it starts to come together, like, once you have all of your little, things done, you sew it together and you're within an hour, you go from having squares to a whole top. And you're like, okay, that was like really gratifying.
Oh,
So I think that you get like instant gratification in pieces and then a big gratification at the end. And then I did something revolutionary and I sent it to someone to finish it for me because my best friend told me, you're allowed to only do the fun part of whatever it is that you like. And I took that to heart. So I sent my quilt off and it will come back to me fully done. And I love that.
I think that is so smart. That is so smart. You're right. And it's not going to be a hobby if you're like cursing as you're
Dreading
like,
it.
yeah,
Yes.
right. That's great. And I think that's one of the reasons I make cookies is because it's instant gratifying. It's more
Yes.
instantly gratifying. Although we do like to age our dough in the fridge sometimes, but I still even like doughs that I want to keep overnight in the fridge to make them taste better and hydrate better and blah blah blah. I always bake cookies like straight from the bowl, even if they're not
Absolutely.
perfect. Like who would not do that? Only animals, I think. Only animals. But then again, smart animals would eat it right out of the bowl. I don't know. So on your book tour, you've been where all have you been?
So this is my second leg of book tour. Tonight I am in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I'll be in Ohio, and I just came from Atlanta. My first leg of the book tour took me from East Coast to West Coast, and in a lot of places in between. But this tour, we are doing Atlanta, Philly, a few stops in Ohio, 4 stops in Texas, and then 2 stops in Florida. And I'm only have one date that even has tickets left, and that's in Ohio and Houston. I'm sorry, in Texas in Houston. Um, I have some tickets left, but the rest of the dates sold out. Some of them almost instantly. Some of them took a couple days, but yeah, it's been pretty wild.
It's like you, Jay-Z, and Harry Styles. Like the tickets sell right out. You're gonna be
I
like,
don't know if I'm I don't know if I'm there to Harry Styles level. Um but
yeah, I think you are.
I'm still absolutely astonished that anyone would want to come and see little old me and my little cookbook that I made. And it's been wonderful to hear from people, real people who really watch my videos, who really cook my recipes, who really hear the things that I do and it resonates with them and it's changed the way that they do things or it's changed. I've had so many people tell me the ways that my videos and my content has changed their life. And it's just, I couldn't in my wildest dreams have imagined that I could be capable of any of that. And it's absolutely phenomenal to get to like touch real people who are behind the screen because sometimes it just looks like numbers on a page. And it's really amazing to put faces to names and see people who I've been interacting in the comment section with for years in real life in person. It's been wonderful.
They're as much a celebrity to you as you are to them, right?
Oh,
Because you recognize their
absolutely.
names. Mhm.
Yes, and I
Um,
have had friends who I made online come out and see me, and I'm like, "You're real? You're a real person? Oh my goodness." And they feel the same way.
what kind of comments do you get from people when they see you in real life?
A lot of people don't believe that I'm real. They're like, "You're not on my phone screen. This is wild." But I think overall I get a lot of people who have left the kitchen for whatever reason and they found their way back by me telling them it's not that big of a deal. It's fine. It's not rocket science. It's literally just dinner. And you know what? The tax of life is ruining dinner sometimes. We all do it. I do it, even though at the end of most of my recipes, and I say most because not every single one is an of course it's good moment. There have been that could have been better, or maybe I should come back tomorrow after this is cooked a little longer in the crock pot and we'll be back on this. Um, People ask all the time if I will tell them if things aren't good. Of course I will. I'm not a liar. I'm not a monster. But it's really wonderful to see how many people actually started cooking again in whatever way because of me in some small way. So that's been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I think for so many of us are, and my kids are much older than yours, but there's a sort of lingering feeling. Like it happened to be that both of my kids, one just past college, one in college, happened to be home last night, and I went, "Oh shit, I have to cook dinner like a real person." You know what I mean? Mostly because we'd had takeout the night before, and maybe the night before that. So, um,
Hey,
and we
there's
were
no judgment here.
it just, but basically my wallet said that was not going to fly, and so we had to have real food. And I'm like, oh my god, this is such a flashback, right? To what am I going to do? And I think the great thing about your cookbook is you just open it up and you're like, oh, that's good because everyone is going to like that, and the one person who doesn't can just eat the cheese off the top or the
Pick it
potato top.
off or rearrange it. We do this in our house all the time. So I obviously have two very picky kids
Mhm.
who which my cookbook when I wrote it was geared towards a 3-year-old and 5-year-old. Now I have a 5 and a 7-year-old because you know that's how aging works. And
Good to know. Wait, hold on, let me write that down. Thank you.
and my kids back then were much more picky than they are now. So that is the phase of life that I was cooking for back then was, you know, we deconstruct things all the time in our house. So if you don't like, I will make my sausage and special rice out of my book. And some of that, like sometimes they just want this part of it and they want their
Mhm.
sausage separate. And I'll make it all together and I'll deconstruct it on your plate. And the chances of them eating it are so much greater. but it's still a really easy and accessible way to feed your family where 90% of your family is going to eat it. And that one kid who's always picky and is always going to gripe, they'll eat it too, but they'll just eat it in a little bit of a different way. Because it's stuff that I think most of us can identify with, things that you're
Mhm.
used to seeing in the grocery store, which is what kids want. They don't want something that looks weird. My daughter says all the time, whenever, especially now that I have a blog and I'm making things that are a little bit more elevated than they were back when I created this cookbook, she goes, I don't like the looks of that. And we'll say, give it a try, take a bite. If you don't like it, nine times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, she'll eat the whole thing. And we're like, if you would have just tried it to begin with. But I think that's part of coming up with dinner every night is you have so many challenges. Every family has their own challenge of who's going to eat what, and this is
Yes.
one of those this is one of those really easy cookbooks that pretty much anybody's going to eat everything in this book.
Yeah. I really, I almost wrote a book about 15 years ago about dealing with a child who had was a not only just an extraordinarily picky eater, but it turned out she had some sort of like feeding, not eating, feeding disorder where she didn't chew right or whatever it was that some way I fucked her up or something like that. And it's it's my fault. Um, and
I can assure you it's most certainly not your fault.
I'm slowly getting over it, honey. Let me tell you. The I can't tell you. First of all, like I trained as a chef, okay, and like all the people, and then I went to work for a magazine called Cookie, a very short-lived magazine that had nothing to do with cookies, but it had to do with like selling expensive things. It was a Condé Nast magazine selling expensive things to parents, and I edited the recipes and stuff. And I remember going in there, and one of the recipes was written by a chef, and I'm really sorry to like dump on someone from a height, but it was written by a chef. And he's like, my children absolutely adore my fish ravioli. And he made ravioli stuffed with mashed fish that was flavored with whatever and like had a butter sage sauce and stuff. And I just remember thinking, no, no, this is
Grown-ups
not
might like that.
exactly. And if your kid likes that, great. But also, please keep that to yourself. Don't ever brag to me about my kid just adores a whole cauliflower. They could eat it raw day and night. No need for chicken nuggets in my house. And I'm like, I it just, it upsets me. How do you deal? Do people ever give you grief for what you're making?
Oh goodness,
I'm
I
sorry. Are
have
you on the internet?
I have a video that goes viral over and over and over again of me just telling it was after a baby shower for my niece, who is now 2, so that tells you how often this goes viral because it's currently viral again. She's now outside of the womb and fully a 2-year-old. But I
Good.
got home from the baby shower with my niece, and we had like this much of chicken nuggets, this much of popcorn chicken, this much of chicken fries in the bottom of my freezer. And I said, you know what? We're throwing it all in a sheet pan. And that's dinner tonight because I don't have time. I don't have energy. I don't have patience. I've spent an entire day at a baby shower doing something for someone else. And you guys are going to be fine. Eating chicken nuggets one night a week or 2 nights a week or every night of the week, as long as your children are fed, is fine. The goal here is that your children have food in their body, and it all comes out in the wash, truly. And I had a man who was somewhere in Europe, I'm not sure where,
Mm.
suggesting that I feed my children Gouda cheese, sauerkraut, and salmon, I think. And the internet went absolutely wild. Um, they're like, children don't eat that. And also, she's fine. Everything is fine. The whole message of my video was it's fine if this is how you feed your family from time to time or more often than you'd like. We are all truly, and I think most parents are doing the best that they can with the obstacles and the tools that they're given. We don't all get a child who's going to eat fish ravioli. We don't. We don't,
Mm-mm.
and it's not always up to
Or
you
have the
whether or not they're going
time.
to be able. Yeah. And everybody, and I kind of come to the internet and to my followers in the same space that I was at when I started doing all of this with. I had kids who wouldn't eat a lot of things. I did not have time. I did not have money. I did not have the energy. I was not in a great headspace, generally speaking, in early motherhood to be able to put a super intentional homemade baby food meal on the table. That's just not reality for most people.
Mhm,
And it's okay if you're not there. And it's okay if you never get there, because sometimes we don't always get to the point where we're feeding our children eggplant parmesan homemade every night. That's just not that's the
mhm,
it's a dream, and I think that one thing I've learned from being on the internet, from posting recipes, from showing my real life, is how unrealistic the internet and social media is. That's not real. I could very easily convince people that my children eat just about anything.
mhm.
And I don't, because that's not real life and that's not fair, I think, to moms everywhere to be out here touting that my children will just eat whatever I make. That's not true. And there are plenty of people who do that, and that's inspirational content, or aspirational, if you will. But that's probably not real life for them either. They're probably ordering a pizza as well.
Yeah, or their life is just all about doing that thing, and it's so it's unbelievable, and it's also so difficult, I think, for people to. Um, I call these like tra la la mamas because they're like everything is so beautiful and everything's precious, and here's a arugula that I picked. My daughter grew it herself, and you're like, that is so beautiful, and I'm so happy for you, but that's not what's happening in the majority of places. When you talked about eggplant parm, I thought, oh, I should remind you that, you can often get like, you can go to like your Italian deli, or you can go in your freezer section. They have frozen eggplant patties. So you can make your own at home with your own jar of sauce and your own mozzarella and have some, so you don't have to sit there and fry your own eggplant parm. I live in New Jersey, so the eggplant parm is like state food. Um,
Isn't
but
there
as,
a restaurant there that puts women into labor with their eggplant parm? I believe.
really?
That there's a yes, I believe that there's a restaurant in New Jersey where they have a famous eggplant parm where women go to get pushed into labor.
I have
It's
to
a
find
thing.
that
We'll have
place.
to Google it afterwards.
I have to go, and then we should all meet up and go there. Except I'm not in labor, nor will I be,
Me
and
either.
you don't
And
want
I
to be. Yeah,
never intend to be again.
exactly. But I really like eggplant parm. But as I was thinking about like suggesting that people buy the frozen stuff, I'm pointing at my freezer in case you're wondering why I'm gesticulating. But the freezer, she's over there. The eggplant parm, I can hear people saying, "But my mother, she made her own eggplant parm from scratch. So why can't you?" And I get a lot of that sort of noise in my head. It's a lot like that guy from Europe who's like, why don't you cure your own sauerkraut so you get the best fermentation and then, make your own Gouda cheese? Um, it's, we're living in a different world.
We
And
absolutely are.
I don't know, maybe their mother didn't work, right? The rest of us guys, in order to get eggplant parm on the table, have to work. And we don't have the time to make these fancy, fancy meals, which is why in the 1960s, everyone was like, what? Potatoes from a box? Yeah. Frozen things? Yeah. Cause I have to go to work. I think one of the messages that you send that is so like a deep breath and is it a deep breath or a breath of fresh air? It's all those things. Um, is that like, just do it. You're going to get some food on the table for your family. Um,
Yeah,
I,
and
I,
at the end of the day, some days you're gonna make your homemade you're gonna make burgers from scratch. You're not
yep.
going to grab a patty from the deli section of the ground beef where it's already pre-made patties. Some days you're gonna do that. Other days you're not. And
Mm-hmm.
you're not a bad person because you're feeding your family differently from day to day. I think it would be absolutely insane to think that someone cooks from a box every single day. I think that's not typically like the case. I think we're all people who are like a combination of everything that they are up until this moment. Which
Yeah.
means sometimes you do things slowly and from scratch, and sometimes you just need a shortcut because you got to get kids to sports now, and they have to eat before they go for some reason. I don't know.
For some, I don't know, they would need like energy. Whatever. Um, I love the range of options in your book, and I've fallen in love with the elote dip, which I think should just be a staple. Like I like my refrigerator should dispense that like it should dispense water.
I make that entirely too often. That's like my late night when I have the ingredients for that in my house all of the time. And whenever it's like late night and I'm like, "Ugh, I want something that's like real, but not like work. I just throw that together and I'm like, oh my
Can
gosh, yes,
can you
every
just
single
tell
time.
people, the 4 people out there who don't know, what are the ingredients in the elote dip? And then they can
Yes,
buy your
it
book.
so I don't have the exact I don't have my book in front of me. But of course, like I do it whatever lazy way with whichever ingredients I have. It's basically fire roasted corn or corn that you
Mm,
fire roast yourself, green chilies, um, cotija cheese, tahine, and
mm,
queso if you have it, and you mix it all together. Cottage cheese, of course, because we need a little protein and a little something to stick to you.
mhm.
So good. So good.
Cottage cheese turns out to be the protein friend that I like having
I
in my refrigerator.
I was very terrified of cottage cheese for far too long because I think it had this like cottage cheese people are people who are on a diet and I was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
so it's diet food and it's not going to taste good." No, I love cottage cheese. I will eat cottage cheese all of the time. And people who don't like cottage cheese are broken.
I feel badly for them. Um,
No, I understand like there's texture things
there's
and all of that
texture.
that
There's
goes
some
into it.
serious texture issues.
There is texture issues with cottage cheese, but it is such a great way to like I add it into it's in my cheesecake dip as well. You blend it up and you have cottage cheese in there and it makes it a higher protein. So I do this, I sneak this cottage cheese into things for my kids all the time like this because they're
Mhm.
gonna eat like a sugar-free Jello powder mixed in with cottage cheese and chocolate chips, and at least the sweet little treat snack that they're getting is gonna sustain them for a little bit longer, and I can still be the cool, fun mom that I wanna be, because I am nothing if I am not a cool and fun mom. When I have kids over and they're, like, running around the yard and swimming, I wanna give them something that's gonna stick to them, but I also want them to leave and be like, "Yeah, let's go back to her house," because I have fun things, and I wanna be a fun lady.
I
And
think you
also,
are,
I want to
actually.
eat that dip.
Exactly. I'm gonna be licking the bowl in the kitchen while you guys are running around outside. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, I think, when my kids were little, there was, like, a really popular cookbook from, like, Jerry Seinfeld's wife, which was all about, like, "Add some black beans to your brownies," or, people would make
Yes.
brownies with beets in them and stuff, and no. Okay? Like, there's so
No.
many other, like, normal ways that you can, like, improve the nutrients, or the nutrition of a dish, where people really don't know because you're using, like, ground almonds or whole wheat flour, which you're not gonna know it has whole wheat flour in it. You're like, if you can eat almonds, almond flour in a cookie makes it, like, dense and delicious and full of nutrients, and also has chocolate chips in it, and maybe it has butterscotch chips in it and whatever else, but,
Yeah. That's like
um
my pantry clean out, my oat bites in this book are my protein balls. That's I do this for the kids all summer long. I go into my pantry and I grab out like hearts of palm. I grab out I'm sorry, I grab out hemp hearts of palm. That would be crazy. I grab
I
out
was like,
hemp hearts. I
"That's
grab
gonna
out
be."
chia seeds, I grab out my, flax seed, all of that good stuff that they don't even know is in it. And then I mix it in with peanut butter and chocolate chips and honey or maple syrup or raisins. And oh my God, they eat it all up and they're sustained. And then like you can do that. You don't have to, you don't have to add in crazy things. You can add in things that you already have, or, you know, literally it doesn't have to be that serious. It's we can work with what we have.
Yeah, exactly, and keep it delicious and not sort of like someday your children will be like, "You put beets in my brownies?" I don't wanna have that conversation with my kids one day. I just feel like I'd, like, transgressed against them. Um, One other thing about your recipes, and then we might go into the, lightning round of questions because I know you do
Sure.
have to go off and do things. Your recipe, you have the pork butt battle in your cookbook, for which I am eternally grateful, because when I go to the grocery store with my little purse full of 3 coins in it, the thing that's like the most affordable cut of meat is a pork butt. And I look at
Mhm.
it and it is gigunda. It is huge. It is a butt, and
So
it's from a
big.
pig. It's so big. So the idea that you're like, cook it and here's some different things to do with it, so that my family is the "we're having leftovers" family. I
Yes,
was
I
raised
have
on
that
leftovers.
family.
Are they getting this on the internet? Because, like, did you complain about leftovers when you were a kid?
No, but also I don't think I was allowed to complain about leftovers as a kid.
That was, I think, also it. And my mother would like soup up something where like we have been having like stew for 3 nights in a row, and then she'd be like, "I'm going to cut up some hot dogs and put it into that, and now it's different." And that
Yes.
was her way of zhuzhing something up. So my kids, a week of pork butt not going to work for them. So the idea that you have these great other recipes there, you can take the cooked pork butt and turn it into like teriyaki pork or barbecued pork or all these things. And I'm grateful for that.
Yes, and I think that one of the things that as parents and as people, we're really underutilizing our freezer because you can cook that pork butt, shred it up, and freeze it. I do this all of the time. I will cook up a ton
Mm-hmm.
of like shredded chicken for chicken tacos where it's seasoned with like real easy stuff like salsa, taco seasoning, onions, garlic, whatever else you want to throw in that you have in the back of your fridge that you need to clean out, like literal kitchen clean out chicken tacos, and then freeze it. And then the next time you need nachos on a quick night to run out the door, you're ready to go. Oh, I'm doing
Yeah.
things that are causing. I had a I gave us a thumbs up. I'm do it
Yeah.
again.
Okay. Good. That's very supportive of me, and I like that. Um, Let me just ask you the other tip that you gave that was so smart, and it is the one about clumping powder, like spices. Don't pour your spices. You tell us.
You cannot don't season over a hot pot. It will cause your seasonings to clump. I that is one of my number one like tips that people love. I have a few of them, which you may appreciate this one because people everywhere love it. Soda for spread, powder for puff. People can never remember when
So,
you use baking soda versus when you use baking powder. And that is the like that is my saying all the time. So yes, you don't season over a hot pot because the condensation will the steam gets inside of your spice jar and it will cause it to clump. Do I still season over a hot pot? Absolutely I do because I do not have time to pour things out into separate containers. However, be better than me, don't be like me, and I'll teach you the science behind it. So I do a lot of these little like, and I don't know where I picked up all of these little tips and tricks. Probably the Food Network over the years of watching like an insane amount of food content and food videos online,
yeah.
and but it all has stuck with me so well that I am constantly just like giving out these little nuggets and tidbits of food knowledge that I have no reason to know because I am not in any way a trained chef. I'm just a lady who knows a lot about food stuff.
But I'm totally stealing now. Soda for spread, powder for puff.
Yes.
Thank you.
And it will always
People are always asking me because
yes, because you're always like, "Can I substitute? I don't have this." I no, you can't. There's a reason. It's a science. Baking is very scientific, even if I do sometimes bake without a recipe and make the entire internet mad. It's fun.
exactly, it gets a rise out of people. It's called engagement. Okay.
Yes.
Um, in case you're wondering what I'm having for lunch today, I am having once again the pickle quesadilla.
Ah, I love it.
I
It
went
is
out and bought. So to explain to people what the pickle, for those ignorant enough not to know.
so it's literally a pickle quesadilla with cheese, and you should and is required to dip it in ranch because I'm a Midwestern lady and everything is better with ranch, specifically pickle quesadillas. But I grew up in a very
Mm.
small town in northern Michigan and we had a restaurant on Main Street, which our Main Street wasn't actually Main Street. There was a fire years ago and they changed Main Street. It was on the main street of the town and it was called the Perfect Pickle. And I thought in my very sheltered small town child life that fried pickles were a thing that were only done at the Perfect Pickle and nowhere else. So
Mhm.
when I went out into the world and realized that you can get deep fried pickles like all sorts of places, I knew I had to add a pickle adjacent recipe, like a fried pickle adjacent recipe. I'm not a big fan of frying things, so a pickle quesadilla is a
Mhm.
perfect way to get that like fried pickle feeling with, of course, cheese because again, I'm a Midwestern lady to my core.
But also
Um,
cheese. It's cheese.
cheese. right? So yes, cheese, pickles, but you don't just cook your pickle quesadilla the typical way. You're going to grill the cheese on the griddle or on the pan, pickles, then you put your tortilla and then you brown it on the other side so that the cheese gets crispy and it gives you that crispy vibe that we all love when it comes to a pickle. You need it to be crispy without deep frying it. So
It's genius. It is
it's so good.
genius
And it's one of my
because
kids'
Chris,
favorite recipes because in the book they have a dinosaur in the picture. And my son's like, "That's mine."
I have a toy cat and a toy car in my book too. And I always love it when people like are flipping through and they're like, wait, what? It's kind of surprising for people.
Yes.
All right. Um, Last night you went out or the night before, I don't know when it was, you went out and you ate cheesesteaks in Philadelphia. And I'm just here as a person from New Jersey, a former food reviewer, to tell you that you picked the right cheesesteak. There
Did
is a right and a
we?
wrong. You did because you picked Jim's, right?
Yes, we did pick Jim's. Jim's cheesesteak reigned supreme last night, but I have been told time and time again, which I did this purposefully, that we only went to tourist spots. I know that was the point. We
Yeah,
were
that's the point because that's what tourists do.
because that's what tourists do. So we've been told we should have gone to Angelo's or Woodrow's or
Okay.
D'Alessandro's.
Okay.
And I understand, but we had to do the tourist thing. That was the test.
Absolutely.
But is a
It's
cheesesteak
I
ever really bad?
no, that's also the
Yeah,
point, right? What is it? I think
right.
your husband summed it up beautifully. It's meat and cheese. What's not to like?
Exactly.
That's and I also really like the vibe at Jim's, the one I went go to. That it's just I like it. It's very
Yeah,
busy. Everyone's helping themselves to condiments. They're very go, 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 and yet sort of nice about what they're doing. I love it. I love
and
Jim's.
and you can watch them chop it up right in front of you, and you can actually sit down inside, which is great. So yeah, we
Also
loved it.
great. Get yourself all the condiments you want. I love being able to help myself to condiments, but that's another story. Um, you have a recipe. I can't talk to anyone without talking about their chocolate chip cookie recipes. As the author of somewhere in my book, The Secret Life of Chocolate Chip Cookies, where I have 60 different chocolate chip cookie recipes, you have one that you hold close to your heart. What is it?
It is my mom's chocolate chip cookies, but mine's better than my mom's. So my mom had taken a very basic chocolate chip cookie recipe, possibly from the back of a bag of chocolate chips, and tweaked it and tweaked it and tweaked it and tweaked it until she liked it herself. And then I took her
Mm-hmm.
recipe and I tweaked it a little bit more until I liked it. And you mentioned earlier that whole wheat flour can be substituted. There is a version of my chocolate chip cookies that I make for my sister-in-law with whole wheat flour. She loves the nuttiness that it gives,
What?
and she always requests it to be made half whole wheat flour, half regular flour. But when I make my staple chocolate chip cookie recipe, which has been made so many times now by so many people, also I wouldn't even tell my sisters this recipe. I had to clear it with them before I put it in my book, and I had to send it to them before I put it in the book because I was like, "No, if I give you this recipe, you have no reason to keep me around. This is the only thing that I have going for me in life is that I have the sacred chocolate chip cookie recipe." Um but I have had so many people make this recipe and it's pretty universally well loved. Is it a crazy gourmet chocolate chip cookie? Absolutely not. It is just your mom's chocolate chip cookie that she would make on the first day of school when you get off the bus and you have fresh chocolate chip cookies waiting for you because that's how it was every year when I got home from school. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how it is for my kids. So it's just a very basic, good, a little bit crispy, a little bit chewy, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit like caramelized on top from just enough baking, but not too much.
Right.
And the key is, which a lot of people ask me, and I didn't realize was a question. Can you substitute butter for shortening in this recipe? No, shortening is required. And shortening, when I say shortening, it's like Crisco, but
Yeah.
it's not butter flavored. It has to be plain. There's all these.
I was just
I've
going to ask.
changed it and tried it. There's so many. I didn't realize that chocolate chip cookies could be as controversial but mine's a pretty
Believe
good
me.
one. I know. I know. I'm like, I saw that you have this whole book. I'm like, "Oh, I need this book and I need to try other and I can appreciate. See, the thing is I'm not even like that biased. Like I can appreciate a good chocolate chip cookie, but mine's just a really good basic chocolate chip cookie recipe that's quick and easy. And of course it gets better if you chill it overnight in the fridge, but like you said earlier, we don't do that. We want chocolate chip cookies now.
We want chocolate chip cookies now. And the other thing is the chocolate chip cookie and your freezer are good, good friends. And
Yes.
I always roll up dough and throw it into the freezer so that when you're about to dig into your elote dip, elote dip, I'm digging into a warm chocolate chip cookie that I've just cooked on my toaster oven because I'm like, must
Yes.
have warm chocolate. And
I
it's just sitting there in the freezer.
When I developed this recipe or when I wrote this recipe down, because let me tell you, this recipe's been developed for years. My editor came back and was like, 6.5 dozen. And I was like, let me tell you one thing. This
Mm-hmm.
recipe does make 6.5 dozen. There are 7.5 cups of flour in this. It is a probably quadruple batch, but I don't care. That's the correct way to make these cookies because what you do is you put 2 dozen in the oven and then you scoop out all of the rest. You freeze it on a cookie sheet, just like flash freeze it until they're just
Mm-hmm.
hard enough. Pop it into a Ziploc bag, put all the air out, and then whenever you want a chocolate chip cookie, you pop out one of the scooped cookies and pop it in the oven in the middle of the night when you just need that. Like you said, when after you eat your elote dip, I do that all of the time. If I don't eat the raw cookie dough out of the freezer directly, which is neither here nor there.
Don't do
I'm
that.
not recommending it.
Don't do that.
Salmonella is a thing, but it's good.
If you know where you get your eggs, maybe, but on behalf of
You're like, I
cookie lovers
cannot
everywhere, please do not do that. But you can. I mean, it's also like there's like salmonella. There are issues with raw flour too.
with
So
raw flour. You're supposed to bake your flour in the oven at 350 degrees for 30 minutes, allow it to cool fully before so that it can be edible. I know the rules. I just don't follow them.
I have a chocolate chip cookie truffle so that it's like raw cookie dough covered in chocolate. And that one I had to like do the whole baking of the flour because I don't want anyone getting sick. You don't want to get sick
No,
from a
absolutely not.
cookie.
Well, and if you're telling
Um,
people to do it, they have to be better than you. Don't be like me, be better than me. Right?
I always say that. I'm always saying that. I'm like, don't be like me. Be better than me. And I think you would have been proud of me yesterday because, and I really should not say this out in public since I have an entire book of homemade chocolate chip cookie recipes. But there have been times in my life where the Betty Crocker chocolate chip cookie mix has been in my home, or I've been on vacation and I wanted to make cookies and I didn't want to buy 5 pounds of flour and all that, blah, blah, blah. And that's a reality. And I amended the cookie recipe. Yesterday, I was mixing the butter and the dough with my bare hands. And so it was the only way to mix it because of doing it with a wooden spoon. I don't have my grandmother's forearms. It just didn't work out. But I added malted milk powder to them
Oh, yeah.
and, and broken up Heath bars. And this is the cookie, and it's so caramelly and nice. And it came from the bag.
You know what? I am no stranger to doctoring up a bag of mix or using a bag of here's the deal. We don't always want to pull everything out of the pantry on, but you sometimes we want something. I just developed a recipe. It's not yet up on my blog, but it's for a lemon poppy seed sour cream loaf. And it starts with a box of just yellow cake mix because I had it in the back of in the back of my pantry and I might as well use it. And if I'm going to use it, I'm going to doctor it up and I'm going to make it my own, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
you can enjoy baking from scratch and you can enjoy baking just to have something that tastes good right now. And neither
Yeah.
one is, I mean, there's a moment that you want to have that from scratch, really perfect, really beautiful brown butter chocolate chip cookie that is got flaky sea salt on top and it's very caramely. Oh my God, yes, I want that right now. I now need a
Mm-hmm.
cookie. But there's also a moment where you just make something from a bag and you doctor it up yourself, or you just make it from a bag and you just make it from a bag because that's the effort that you have and you want cookies. It's
And
okay.
also, that's what you want. I mean,
Yeah.
like that's also the thing is, I don't want there ever to be any sort of judgment around baking and cooking because, in the end, it's a cookie, and I just want people to be happy eating a cookie. you know? I feel very much the same way. Did I come up with a recipe that replicates this with just like the stuff from your pantry, like flour and sugar? Yes, I did. And you can make that too. Anyway, you need to go. This is the lightning round. Are you
All
ready?
right, I'm ready.
Okay. Are you related to Ryan
I
Seacrest?
am not.
Okay. Um, it's your birthday. What do you have somebody else make for you, or where do you go out to eat?
Oh my goodness. If it's my birthday, I Chinese food, I usually get Chinese takeout. That is my go-to all of the time, though, because when I don't wanna cook, I'm gonna order Chinese takeout, and I'm gonna get chicken and broccoli with brown sauce, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
get dumplings that are fried. That's what I'm
Very
going
good.
to get every time.
Great. I think we'll be very good friends. Birthday dessert.
Birthday dessert, I want a Black Forest cake. I
Okay.
love a chocolate cake with vanilla frosting and cordial cherries. I need that.
Mm,
And I need
I
it to
get
have
it.
shaved white chocolate or shaved chocolate, any type of shaved chocolate on top.
Has to be shaved chocolate. I
Or
get
my
that's
husband
good.
will get me a bundt cake from Nothing Bundt Cakes because sometimes he likes to get me the variety pack so that we can just have
Ooh,
like a fun little sampler moment. And I'm not saying that those are like the superior cakes of all cakes, but sometimes it's fun to just try a ton of different things, right?
totally. That's just the way to go. And also, it's your birthday. You should have fun. Okay, crunchy or smooth peanut butter.
Oh, smooth all the way.
Very good. I don't want to judge anybody, but you're right. Favorite ice cream flavor?
There is an ice cream in Michigan, Hudsonville Ice Cream, and they have
Mm.
brownie chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream, and that is the superior cookie flavor. And that is the superior ice cream flavor. But if I'm having Ben and Jerry's ice cream, which is what I do on a very sweet treat day, it's fish food always. Always fish
Oh, God,
food.
so good. Is it a vanilla or chocolate base for the brownie
It is
chocolate chip
both.
cookie?
It's like mixed. It's like a brownie ice cream and a vanilla cookie dough ice cream mixed together.
I just want, this is the kind of investigative reporter that I am. I need to know
And
it all.
Hudsonville ice cream, not biased at all because I live in Hudsonville ice cream country. It's like literally right next door to where we live. Um, is the superior ice cream. It is so rich and creamy and delicious. And it's just like grocery store
Yeah.
ice cream. So good.
Hmm.
You're like, I
Um,
need that.
I need that really right now. Um, and one last question. You are get put on a desert island, and we did just talk about ice cream, so forgive me, but you're put on a desert island, and you can only have one food that is delivered to the island. It is ice cream or pizza. Which one is it?
It would be pizza. I would get sick of sweet. I would also get sick of pizza, but I thought you were going to say one food in general, it would be broccoli.
Oh, you have broccoli on the
I would have
island?
broccoli. I can eat broccoli every day, all day, every day, for every meal, all the time. I never get sick of broccoli. When I'm traveling like this, I will specifically find something on the menu that has broccoli because I'm like, I need something green and I need it to be broccoli immediately. So maybe it would be like a chicken broccoli Alfredo pizza.
Oh, wow. I've never heard of that.
I
That's
mean,
really
that
good.
sounds good. I've never had it, but it sounds like a good mashup of like a moment that I could sustain myself on.
Oh, broccoli with garlic and olive oil is just, and a little too much Parmesan cheese and Romano cheese. That's how I have to have it. Is the best food in the world. And I will almost conclude this by saying my cat growing up was named Broccoli.
I love that. That's so cute.
Just saying.
That's so cute.
Um, so you need to go off into the world. Thank you so much for being here. What are you going to do next? Are you going to be doing anything adventurous when you go off to Ohio?
Ohio, I think I have 2 or 3 stops, so I think we're a rapid fire there. But I do know next up on our Matthew tries, because everybody's always wondering what Matthew is going to try next, is going to be Texas barbecue, and we
Ooh,
are very excited about that.
that is going to be so good. Please make sure that you have some good jalapeno poppers when you're down there as well in Texas. And so I thank you so much for being here today. Have a great tour. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me and my guest, Jessica Secrest, today. You can find her cookbook, of course it's good, and my cookbook, The Secret Life of Chocolate Chip Cookies, wherever fine books are sold. And you can also find Jessica online at Applesauce and ADHD on Facebook and lots of other places. And me, you can find me at marissarothkopf.substack.com. And it doesn't matter if you can't really spell my name, nobody ever has been able to. Just go to Substack and type in something that approximates my name, and I'm sure you'll find me. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for more.